I'm Rick Springfield, and you're watching TV Scandinavia.
It's been 3 years since the last album, with the new album Rock of Life.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, it was because I was working so much that I had to take some time off. I've been working solidly. I mean, when I wasn't doing a TV show and I was recording at night and touring on the weekends, and then when I left the TV show, I started touring constantly. I toured for like a year. And then I would record and then tour and record and then do acting projects and then record and tour. And I just needed a rest. I needed a break because I was pretty burned out. And the birth of my son, actually, in 1985 gave me a good reason to take some time off.
Yeah. I think that's been a sort of crucial thing for you, hasn't it? The fact that you've now got a little family and that your own father died just before that, I think.
Yeah, he did. He died a couple of years before my son was born. So it was not only did I not have my father to lean back on, suddenly I was the father, 2 years later. And it was a real, threw me for a loop and gave great reason for me to start looking inside myself.
Didn't you take a great risk, though, by having such a break, nevertheless, to concentrate all this time on your family?
Yeah, but it was certainly, for me it was worth it, and for another thing, I didn't, there was nothing, at that point, there was nothing more I could do. I mean, I needed the time off, because after that tour, I tried to sit down and write for the next album, and nothing was there, and nothing was moving up here. Mm. So I had to sort that all out. Tao was a very dark album, I think. It was a look out from the inside, and Rock of Life is definitely back to what I mainly like doing, which is guitar, stage, rock, and it's fun to play on stage. It's one of the reasons I wrote Rock of Life like that, was so that, because I knew it would be that kind of stuff comes naturally to me because it's easy to play on stage. But it's a very internal look, the album, and because of the time I had off to see what was going on inside me.
Last time we met was when you were here for the first time a few years ago, and I remember you saying at that time that for you, lyrics are very important. You tend to spend a lot of time on getting the lyrics right, and hopefully that people will be able to relate to your lyrics. It seems to me, looking at the lyrics on the new album, that's true more than ever, maybe. Yeah,
I think so. I think as I get older too, more will surface. I mean, there's a lot that surfaces if you look, and if you take the time to look. And certainly things through my life have made that happen. The death of my father was one, and a couple of years later, the birth of my son was another that really caused those things to come to the surface. All the fears and all your hopes and dreams, and you got to take a look at all that kind of stuff, I think.
In other words, you're still writing from your own experiences.
Yeah. Especially Rock of Life is very, very autobiographical, the most for me.
When I listen to songs like Rock of Life, World Start Turning, Tear It All Down, to a certain extent Honeymoon in Beirut, I'm maybe automatically looking for, if you like, broader messages. But are you trying to create a broad message about life in general, or are you trying to create lyrics that are more for the individual, nevertheless?
I think they are for the individual, because I think different things will strike different people. But as far as a broad overview, I mean, it is of my life, what's going on in my head about my life. One of the things that writing the song My Father's Chair off Tao, which is about the death of my father, was a lot of people came up and said, because that happens to everybody eventually, and said that it had helped, that listening to the song had helped them experience their own grief. And doing that is what I get the most enjoyment out of for lyrics, especially in my music, is touching someone, identifying maybe an emotion that they're having trouble identifying with, or just displaying it can do that. I've felt, just seeing an emotion in someone else's song that I've felt, it helps you through with yours.
What led you to put the Old Small Faces song, If You Think You're Groovy, on the album?
That was when we did a song I've always liked, and I worked it up in my studio. And then we threw it down when we did the album, just because we wanted to do it, see how it would end up. And it sounded, when we finished, I wanted to put it on the album because it gave an interesting balance to the album, I thought.
You're working together with Keith Olsen again as well as
Mhm.
producer.
Yeah.
After a little break.
Yeah, when I finished the demos on this album, which again I did in my studio at home, I saw it was going to be a very vocal-oriented album. And Keith was really the first one I thought of to work with because he's great in the studio with vocalists. He's great at pulling the performance out of the vocalist.
You seem to like Scandinavia. You've been here a fair bit now, anyway.
Yeah. Nice buildings. Yeah, I do. I've been here. I've been here outside of Germany more than any other place in Europe.
Yeah. Are you finding that people haven't forgotten you despite the long break?
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel forgotten. That's for sure.
Mm. You're from Australia originally. Are you going to Australia at all? Are you well known there, particularly this year with the bicentennial and everything?
I was invited down to perform in the bicentennial, but I was recording at the time. But I'd never toured down in Australia, so as a solo artist, when I left, I haven't played there since. I left in 71. So I'd like to tour there, but it's just the same reason I left. It's hard to get there.
Yeah. Before you told me that you like traveling and so on, do you still feel like that about traveling now that you've got a family?
Good point. Yeah, no, it's a little more difficult now. I have a family, that's for sure. I love traveling, and it's definitely in my blood. But I sure miss home, especially on tour. A longer tour is probably going to be much more difficult. So I'll probably have to build a big road case to put them in.
What about the acting career? What's happening? Is there anything happening at all there?
Yeah, I'm working out as I guess you'd call it at a improvisational workshop in LA, just to get things my chops up, and I'm gonna start. I definitely want to do some more acting projects, and I'm looking after the tour. I'll start looking for after the tour. Could
you elaborate a little bit on the song "Rock of Life"? Tell us a little bit about the video, because we'll show the video as well.
About the video?
Yes.
It was directed by Alex Proyas, who's an Australian director, actually, who did Crowded House, Don't Dream It's Over, and some other ones that I really liked. And we talked. I wanted. The song is basically about change. It's about, for me, like the things. I think puberty and death of my dad and birth of my son were the three big changes in my life so far, and. So to show that on video, he took the line about from the song "Waking Up Blind with a House on Fire" as a literal translation of the change that the song is talking about. The guys responsible for the fire too were the special effects men that did Apocalypse Now, so they were well versed in fire and explosions.
I wonder what they do with a song like Soul to Soul, those sort of gory lyrics about not sticking the blade in them.
Well, that could be a sexual reference there too.
That's a point. Perhaps we won't go into that here.
No, that's not. We'll keep that one for later, late night.
If anybody's been guided by the key word perseverance, it's you, of course. And we talked a little bit about that last time we spoke. Do you still consider that it is a very, very important thing to just persevere, and if you believe in something?
Oh, absolutely. I think so. I think because I think that you can never know when the time is right. If you knew when the time was right, everybody would hit it at the right time. And I think you just have to work on your craft, and you just have to stay strong within, which probably more than anything is any message from the Rock of Life album is that to stay with that strength within, and I think that's a real important. I see that every time I hear a success story. You see you hear instantly of the 10, 15 years generally, anyway, that went into it before that moment.
It's good to see it works. Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.